Welcome back to the Minecraft Story Mode review. Last time we were introduced to our not Steve protagonist Jesse, a wimp with no redeemable qualities, who is a loser, that just like the Disney film Chicken Little, is crapped on by everyone except his friends. A wither storm in episode 1 was released on the world, and it's up to Jesse and his friends to stop it. Gabriel the warrior gave him an amulet to locate the Order of the Stone members. Jesse and his friends came across a temple, and we had to decide whether to get Magnus or Ellegaard. So with the poll that we did last time on part 1, you guys decided to go with Magnus and Boomtown rather than Ellegaard and Redstonia. I was hoping you would pick Boomtown because there's more joke material. So going off the cliffhanger last time, we decided to go with Axel to Boomtown. Chapter 2 opens up with the journey from the nether dimension to get to Boomtown. We of course need to fight another Gas in the same awful combat system I hate very much. There isn't much to talk about here. They could have cut out the opening nether stuff and the plot would largely be the same. This was just filler designed to waste your time. So we arrive in Boomtown, the living representation of a Minecraft Anarchy server. Although real griefers do a lot more damage in these types of servers, Boomtown is quite tame in comparison. As soon as we get a glimpse at Boomtown, you just know that no real life place would actually look like this. Boomtown has no real government. It's essentially the Purge if the few rules the Purge had didn't exist. That being no explosives and no killing of government officials. Though I'm not sure if this is enough insanity to attract someone like Michael Bay.
Awesome barbecue, awesome pool.
Although this is a step in the right direction. Basically everything in this wreck is out to kill you. And this is just a ridiculous stereotype of certain types of Minecraft players. Since we have to locate Magnus, we pull out the amulet and I go around waving the amulet in different directions for a whole minute. Then a group of griefers confront us when they overhear that the amulet can locate Magnus. Jesus, please no. Please don't tell me they're gonna steal it from us. Yep, I guessed it correctly. The griefing gal snatches the amulet away from us, only to have someone else use a fishing rod to take it from her. It reminds me of an episode of Adventure Time called The City of Thieves, which ironically Axel's voice actor is the same for Jake the dog. That's one interesting connection. We basically have to go around chasing griefers for that damn amulet. And once we finally possess it, we have to escape with it. Again, we have a pointless choice of whether to give it to Axel or not, which does nothing in the grand scheme of things. We still possess it at the end. But when we finally get to Magnus's fortress, we have that other cartoon cliche where we fall through a trapdoor.
Fine. Knocking worked, for once.
So it seems. Let's get in there.
Right behind you.
Whoever designed the trapdoor didn't make it deep enough so that we would fall to our deaths. This is where we are finally introduced to Magnus, who is a piece of Really? This game sucks at introducing characters. Let's have a look at them. Olivia and Jesse are losers, Ruben is just an annoying pet, Axel is a walking fat joke, Lucas has a bunch of douchey friends, and so on. These character introductions suck, and Magnus is close to killing us like 3 times. When we say we'll get Ellegaard instead, he finally says fine, but to extend the length of the game, Magnus says that to be able to leave, he has to be deposed as leader of Boomtown. Which if Michael Bay existed in this universe, he'd be a great replacement.
Awesome barbecue, awesome pool.
But since he's in our universe, butchering the Transformers franchise, or at least he used to, I guess, there hasn't been any movies recently, he can't. So basically Magnus has this silly plan to lose to us, so that we'll become king of Boomtown, and we can finally leave. So we have to fake a match in the Death Bowl, just like a wrestling match. Shame John Cena, The Rock, or really anyone couldn't show up to compete. So our strategy is to throw eggs and nothing more dangerous. We get another pointless choice of what to build our stuff with, and I of course choose stone. We build our fortress, and Magnus completely ditches the plan to throw eggs as he tries to kill us with TNT, in a way that would put AC/DC to shame. So now that Magnus has gone crazy, we have to defeat him. So we of course exploit a weak spot and use arrows to defeat him.
Oh crap!
Magnus receives no consequences for trying to kill us. The fact that he tried to kill us goes completely forgotten for the rest of the game. Magnus receives 0 consequences for the crap he pulled. The Wither Storm shows up and we have to escape, as the Wither Storm eats up this pathetic excuse of a town. Cut back to the Order of the Stone Temple, where guess who shows up? Yep, that's right, Gabriel. It would have been Petra if we chose to save her, but she's DEAD, dead. And that's what Gabriel says. Petra couldn't escape and instead got swallowed by the Wither Storm. So just forget about her. She saved our skin, but since I was trying to play as an evil character, I saved Gabriel instead. But since you can't be evil, you're forced to be the good guy, you have to be heroic. But to prove that whether we should get Magnus or Ellegaard was utterly pointless, even with the change in scenery, Olivia, it turns out, went to Redstonia to get her. So she joins the team regardless. Either way, both Magnus and Ellegaard join the team. Although it was the closest thing we had to player choice, it still ends up being 100% completely pointless. Magnus and Ellegaard, as it turned out, detest each other for a reason that goes unexplained. We don't get to find out why they don't like each other. They just don't. We go talk to Olivia and Ellegaard for a bit, and we all try to formulate a plan. We tried talking about crafting some TNT, which probably won't work, and Ellegaard brings up how Soren had been working on something called Super TNT, which could be crafted into a Formida bomb, and it could be our best shot at destroying the Wither. So we try to see if Soren will appear in the amulet. So we try it out, and how convenient. He finally pops up in the overworld. The Order talk about how his location is where the fortress is located. We get another fake choice on whether to go now or go in the morning. This choice doesn't do anything, so we decide not to pad out the game by a minute and just go now. But uh-oh, Ivor is approaching Soren's location. And Jesus, is he moving fast or what? Must be using a speed potion. Well, we go out and get attacked by mobs. We fight enemies for a bit, and then make a break for the fortress. When we get there, we find a bunch of gaps with the deep holes. Instead of building a bridge, we decide to do risky jumps like it's Super Mario. There's this one part where Ruben nearly falls down, but the thing is, we don't get a choice on whether to save him or let him die. We have to save him. Player choice to the rescue once again. We find out that Endermen are down at the bottom when we get to the other side. After swimming to catch up, Magnus and Ellegaard at this point have had enough of each other and walk in opposite directions into different tunnels. We get another fake choice on which tunnel to go through. Spoiler, there's no difference, they end up at the same place. There's not even a cosmetic difference from what I remember. So we decide to split up when Gabriel tells us that he has something to tell us in private. So with the exception of Ruben, he goes on about how he's contracted wither sickness that isn't wearing off. So basically he's gonna die anyways. Good to know that my choice on who to save in episode 1 was gonna be pointless anyways. And since Petra and the choice dedicated to saving her does the same thing, there's literally nothing different between these two on how they do things. The only change really is who the voice actor is. We fall down a hole and Gabriel loses grip of us because of the sickness, and so we have to use the amulet to navigate on our own. We come across a library where we encounter, oh god, please no, Ivor again. We don't get to finally kill him, although we do have a fight where Gabriel shows up and we both fight him. But it's no Duel of the Fates. Would putting the John Williams score in it actually make it better? No idea. He tries a bunch of tricks to win. First he tries a potion of swiftness, next he tries invisibility, and then when everyone else shows up, he uses a potion of slowness on all of us, and that's how the episode ends, with Ivor escaping and leaving the whole thing on a cliffhanger. A cliffhanger that it hasn't earned. My biggest problem with this episode is again, the lack of player choice. They once again lied in your face about how your choices mattered when it really leads to the same damn thing. Jesse has less choice than John Connor in the Terminator franchise, and in his universe, the fate of the world was set in stone because of the time loop of decisions, and things in that universe were inevitable. The player has no choices unless you count the Magnus and Ellegaard thing, where in that case, I guess it's half a choice. But overall, this game's marketing was one giant scam. But can episode 3 fare any better? Well, that's a discussion for next time. I'm JJ Plagiarisms. Sorry for a shorter video, but that's only because this episode was shorter than the first. And until next time, what are stories but mystery boxes?